I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to imagine you're way out in the middle of a big, beautiful meadow. And all around are big, luscious, juicy apple trees. And way over, sitting under one of those trees, is an old man sleeping. That old man, his name is Johnny Appleseed. Now, when Johnny was just a little tyke in school, the great schoolmaster stood up, held up an apple, and he said, "Children," kind of like your teacher, "children, this apple is round like the world." But Johnny started thinking, that apple is a world. The next Sunday in church, John always went to the Swedenborg church with his mom and his daddy. The preacher got up. He was always coughing. He said, "You should be spreading and sowing the Lord's seed. Spreading and sowing the Lord's seed." Let me hear you. Spreading and sowing the Lord's seed. Well, Johnny started thinking, there's seeds in apples. If I were to spread apple seeds, I could make 1,000 worlds. Well, you and I might think that's a pretty silly thought. At least when we got older, we would. But Johnny, he never really got over it. One day, he went out to the meadow, sat himself down neath an apple tree, started munching on an apple, and this song came to him. "The Lord is good to me, and so I thank the Lord for giving me the things I need, the sun and the rain and the apple seed. The Lord is good to me." Sing Johnny's song. "The Lord is good to me, and so I thank the Lord for giving me the things I need, the sun, the rain, the apple seed. The Lord is good to me." Well, when Johnny was growing up, he didn't just play with the other children. Somebody said he watched a man who worked in an orchard, watched how he planted the seeds in long rows, how the seeds started taking on tiny sprouts, how the sprouts started taking on tiny branches. Well, the Revolutionary War was just about over there. Johnny's papa was off fighting in that war. Johnny's mama had died when he was just a little boy. One day, Johnny went out, sat down neath his apple tree. An idea crossed his mind. You know, there are folks talking about going off and settling in the wilderness, in the Ohio Valley. I sure wish I could go. Then all of a sudden, Johnny thought he heard a voice. Huh? I'm going out in that wilderness. I got work to do. He thought of that apple back in the classroom. He thought of those seeds sprouting in the ground, and it was as if the Lord were talking right to Johnny. Well, he clutched his Bible to his breast. He ran down to the old apple wine press, and he started gathering seeds. He put them in a tiny sack, one at a time, and he said, "Oh, how precious you're going to be." Well, he didn't own a horse, so he'd have to walk. Well, he gathered his belongings together, his old warm Bible for reading, took along a pot for cooking. Mostly he wore the pot on his head. And he sang his song. "Lord is good to me, and so I thank the Lord for giving me the things I need, the sun and the rain and the apple seed. The Lord is good to me. I'm going west. I am bound for the promised land, bound for the promised land. Oh, will it come and go with me? I am bound for for the promised land with the pioneers. Yahoo! I am bound for the promised land. Oh, I'm bound for the promised land. Oh, will I come and go with me? I am bound for the promised land. I am bound for the promised. Well, Johnny did go west. He began calling on the pioneers, and the settlers. He'd say, "Hi there, would you like to have an apple?" If they couldn't pay the tiny fee he asked, well, he'd lower the fee. And if they still couldn't pay, well, he did it for a meal all the time, singing, walking and planting, walking and planting, walking and planting. There goes Johnny Appleseed. Yes, it's walking and planting, walking and planting, walking and planting. Yes, it's Johnny Appleseed. Well, love is work and work is love, and love's an apple tree. Walking and planting, walking and planting, walking and planting. There goes Johnny Appleseed. There goes Johnny Appleseed. Yes, sir, Johnny did go west. Everywhere, folks were talking about this strange, wiry fellow who came out of the forest wearing a pot on his head and planting apple trees. When folks asked him questions, he said, "Well, I'm not going to settle and get married. No. I got the Lord's work to do. No, I'll get along. I don't need anything. Just got me, my songs." The people scratched their head and watched him go off. But in the spring, the sprouts started to come. And then the trees, and then the blossoms, and then the apple. Johnny Appleseed. One night, Johnny was asleep so soundly, he woke up at the start. He climbed up on a hill. He thought to himself, Indians. They were dancing around a fire. Johnny climbed down the hill, and the Indian scouts came to him, and they waved friendly, and Johnny waved friendly. And he came close, and he saw the Indian women weaving by the firelight, and he saw the children making little flutes and going, "Awoo, awoo, awoo," and the braves dancing round the fire. And he brought apples to them. The chief tasted the apples, and a big smile came over his face, for they didn't have apples in that region. And a little dribbled down his chin. And he gave the apples to the children, and the smiles came across the face, little dribbled down their chin. And they played their flutes for Johnny. A-woo, 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 a-woo. And the next morning, Johnny planted a whole grove of trees for them. They watched. And in the spring, the tiny children found the sprouts. The sprouts started taking on branches. And they talked about that strange man who came out of the forest, planted apple seeds, and now they had apples. And they told the other Indian tribes. Everybody knew about Johnny Appleseed. One day, Johnny was picking up some supplies in a fort. And all of a sudden, there was yells and cries of, "Indians! Indians! Indians!" And the Indians were outside. People were grabbing guns, and there was fire. "Johnny, grab a gun! Grab a gun!" But Johnny would not carry a gun. "Nowhere in my understanding of you, Lord," he said to himself, "can I find reason enough to kill a fellow human being. Nope. Somebody's got to say no to killing. Has to be old Johnny. Has to be me. Besides, I got apple trees to plant." As he left the fort behind, he thought to himself, "I sat with the Indian women by the firelight, and I watched them weave, and I played with the little children, and they played me a song on their flutes. Oh, woo, oh, woo, oh, woo. The Indian's my friend. I will not kill. Walking, planting, walking and planting, walking and planting. There goes Johnny Appleseed. Well, love is work and work is love, and love's an apple tree. Walking and planting, walking and planting, walking and planting. There goes Johnny Appleseed. Well, nobody knows how far for sure that Johnny Appleseed walked, but they know he walked over Massachusetts. They know he walked over Pennsylvania, and Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia. Walking and planting. Everywhere he left behind great groves of apple orchards and apple trees. Walking and planting. Kentucky and Ohio. He saw so many things on the way. On Sundays, he'd see people worshiping God, and he'd stop and he'd talk to the people who wanted to worship God. One day he stopped, and there was a group of people who were dancing instead of singing and talking. They were shaking. They were called shakers, and they sang this song. 'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come down where you want to be. When you are in the place just right, you'll be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend you will not be ashamed. Till turning will be your delight. Till turning you come round right. Walking and planting, walking and planting. He was getting older now. His beard was getting long. His pot was rusted. His clothes were torn. Still he walked and he planted. He walked and he planted, sleeping at night. One night Johnny slept oh so soundly. Sun was just creeping up over the hill in the morning. Johnny woke up with a start. He knew something was different. Well, he got up to his feet. He climbed up high on a hill. Then he climbed up high on a mountain, and there, as far as the eye could see, were hills and valleys and rivers covered and lined with the apple trees that Johnny planted. And all of a sudden, he heard the voice again. Lord, all this time I've been planting those apple trees because you said you're just going to give me some kind of reward. Now I know the secret. I already got my reward. Think of those children in the noonday sun munching on an apple. Life's easier for the pioneers and the settlers because old Johnny came by. For hundreds of years, I remember the blessings I brought, the blessings and the kindness. I tried to be kind. Knowing that, Lord, that's my reward. I don't need no more. Lord, I ain't weary. No, I got lots of strength left. Why, I could go on planting those apple trees. You're ready to take me, Lord? I hadn't figured on going yet. You're ready to take me? Well, I reckon I'm ready to go. I don't know how to go, Lord. Yes, I do. Johnny climbed down off the mountain into the evening. And in the meadow he found a place to kneel in the earth. And he took out one seed. It wasn't an apple seed. It was a seed for the golden rain tree. And he thought to himself, People will look for the rain tree wherever they remember Johnny Appleseed. When they find it, they'll know the meaning of life, they think. But Johnny laughed to himself. No, it's what you find along the way, looking for it, that's important. Little girl came out the next morning to play in the meadow, and she found the old man sleeping, she thought. She went and got all the people from the town. And they came out, and they gathered round Johnny. They joined hands. And they sang his song as they buried him. The Lord is good to me. And so I thank the Lord for giving me the things I need, the sun and the rain, the apple seed. The Lord is good to me. You know, the story has no end because, well, Johnny will be remembered as long as there are people to tell the story. And we have the apple trees. Johnny was a legend and a true man. He planted apple trees across Pennsylvania and Ohio. He died at 61 years of age. And the story just goes on and on. Walking and planting, walking and planting, walking and planting. There goes Johnny Appleseed. Well, love is work and work is love, and love's an apple tree. Walking and planting, walking and planting, walking and planting. There goes Johnny Appleseed.